What was the last decision you made thinking 100% about yourself and not about the other person's possible reaction? This isn't love, it's strategy. And 500 years ago, a man named Machiavelli wrote the complete manual on how power and control work. Today, we'll use this wisdom to expose the 7 behaviors that are silent weapons used to destroy you from within, without you even realizing it. All right, let's get into the mechanics of this. The first phase of a toxic relationship isn't about fighting. It's not about yelling or throwing things. It's quieter. It's more insidious. The first battlefield is never physical. It's the 6 inches between your ears. It is the territory of your mind, your reality. And before a manipulator can control you, they must first conquer that territory. Machiavelli wrote extensively about this. He understood that to control a population, a prince must first control the official story. He has to become the sole source of truth. In a toxic dynamic, the exact same principle applies. The manipulator's first objective is to systematically dismantle your perception of reality, so they can replace it with their own. This is a cold, calculated campaign, and it has 2 primary fronts. The first is called the illusionist. We have a clinical name for it now, gaslighting. But before it was a buzzword on the internet, it was a quiet, creeping madness that people felt but couldn't name. It's the subtle art of making you feel crazy. It doesn't start with a big, obvious lie. It starts small. It starts with them saying, "I never said that," about something you distinctly remember them saying yesterday. Your brain pauses for a second. You think, I could have sworn, but maybe I misheard. You let it go. Then, a week later, you bring up something that upset you. Their response? You're being way too sensitive, it was just a joke. Again, your brain stalls. Am I too sensitive? Maybe I overreacted. You start to police your own emotions, telling yourself to calm down, to not make a big deal out of things. This is where the poison really starts to work. It's the constant low-grade questioning of your own experience. The weaponized phrases become a part of your daily life. You're imagining things. That's not how it happened at all. You have a terrible memory. You're making a big deal out of nothing again. You're the one who made me act that way. Each of these sentences is a small crack in the foundation of your sanity. Your mind is thrown into a state of cognitive dissonance, the deep internal stress you feel when you hold 2 contradictory beliefs at the same time, what you know to be true and what the person you trust is telling you is true. And the human brain is hardwired to resolve that stress. Very often, the easiest way to resolve it is to surrender your version of events. It's less painful than fighting. It's easier to just accept their reality. Think of it like this. It's as if they have administrator access to your brain's operating system. They're not trying to crash the system with a virus. They are slowly, meticulously rewriting your source code, 1 line at a time. They delete a memory here, edit an emotional response there. After months or even years of this, you begin to fundamentally distrust the one person you should always be able to rely on, yourself. Your intuition, which was once a clear voice, becomes a muted whisper. You second-guess every decision. You apologize for things you didn't do. You feel a constant, humming anxiety that you can't quite place, a feeling that you are the problem. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He wrote that a prince must be a great pretender and dissembler. He wasn't talking about telling a little white lie to get out of trouble. He was talking about the strategic construction of an entirely different reality for people to live in. Your reality. That is the ultimate goal of the illusionist, to make their voice the only voice of authority inside your head. And once the foundation of your reality starts to crack, the manipulator needs to make sure no one can come in and help you repair it. This brings us to the second, devastating tactic on this front, the strategic isolator. This part is just as subtle and just as crucial. A manipulator knows that your friends, your family, your coworkers, these people are witnesses. They are fact-checkers. They are the people who have known you for years and will hold up a mirror and say, "Wait, that doesn't sound like you," or "That doesn't make any sense, he said the complete opposite last week." These outside perspectives are a direct threat to the fragile, alternate reality the manipulator is building around you, so they must be eliminated. Again, this doesn't happen overnight. It's not a dramatic, "you can't see your friends anymore" declaration. That would be too obvious. Instead, it's a campaign of strategic sabotage. It might start with small complaints after you see a friend. You know, Sarah is always so critical of me. I think she's just jealous of what we have. Or when you're planning to go to a family dinner. Your brother just makes me so uncomfortable. Can't we just have a quiet night, just the two of us? I've had such a hard week. Notice the genius of this tactic. They are not the villain forbidding you from seeing people. They are the victim who is hurt by your friends and family. They weaponize your empathy against you. You start to feel guilty. You think, maybe my friend was a little cold. Maybe my brother is a bit much. I don't want to cause a fight. So you start to pull back. You cancel a coffee date here. You skip a family barbecue there. You make excuses for your partner's behavior to your friends, and then you just stop talking about your relationship altogether, because it's easier than trying to explain the inconsistencies. Before you know it, months have passed. The phone calls have slowed down. The invitations have stopped coming. It's not a sudden kidnapping. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. They have built a fortress around the two of you, but you slowly realize the walls weren't designed to keep danger out. They were designed to keep you in. A prince, Machiavelli argued, should neutralize any powers he cannot control himself. For the toxic partner, your support system is that uncontrollable power. They are the independent counsel that must be silenced or exiled so that the prince's word becomes the only law. And when they succeed, when they have become the sole author of your reality and have cut off all your lifelines to the outside world, you are left completely vulnerable. You are alone, confused, and convinced that the prison they built around you is actually a safe harbor. This is the completion of Phase 1. It is the destruction of your world, carried out so silently you didn't even hear the demolition. So they've isolated you and warped your sense of reality. The fortress is built, and you're inside. But a fortress is only effective if the person inside doesn't want to, or feels they can't, leave. This brings us to the second phase of the strategy, the maintenance of emotional control. This is how they keep you trapped, not with chains, but with your own feelings. To understand this, we have to go back to Machiavelli's most famous and most misunderstood piece of advice. He wrote that for a prince it is safer to be feared than to be loved, but that he must above all avoid being hated. A toxic partner instinctively understands this principle. They know that pure, unrelenting cruelty would lead to hatred, and hatred leads to rebellion. But pure, unconditional love would give you the security to leave. So, they don't choose one or the other. They choose both. They keep you in a state of perfectly balanced instability, always hoping for their love but terrified of provoking their anger. This is a deliberate emotional climate, and it's maintained by 3 powerful tactics. The first is what I call the enemy of your confidence. A confident person is an unpredictable person. A person who knows their own worth is a flight risk. The manipulator cannot have that. So their goal is to methodically dismantle your self-esteem until the only validation that matters is theirs. This is not overt bullying. It's far more subtle. It's a slow, steady erosion of your identity. It's the backhanded compliment. It's so great that you're not worried about being the most stylish person in the room. It sounds like a compliment, but the subtext is, you look plain. It's the constant, unsolicited, constructive criticism disguised as care. I'm only telling you this because I love you, but you're a little too loud when you get excited around my friends. The message isn't about volume. It's about making you self-conscious, making you shrink. They will undermine your accomplishments. You come home, thrilled about a promotion at work, and their response will be, "That's great, honey. Is the pay much better? Because the hours sound awful and I don't know how we'll manage." They find the cloud for every silver lining you have, ensuring that your sense of achievement is always tethered to their approval or their concerns. Think of them as a sculptor. They see you as a block of marble, but they're not trying to reveal a masterpiece. They're chipping away piece by piece, shaving off your confidence, your passions, your quirks, until you're small enough to fit on a pedestal of their own design. A weak subject, Machiavelli knew, is a compliant subject. By making you feel worthless, they create a dependency. You start to believe you need them, that no one else would put up with you. Their opinion becomes your mirror, and they have made sure the reflection is always flawed. But constant criticism would breed hatred. So to balance the fear of their judgment, they have to sprinkle in moments of intense affection. This leads to the most addictive tactic of all, the emotional roller coaster. In psychology, this is called intermittent reinforcement. In layman's terms, it's the slot machine effect. A slot machine is addictive not because it pays out every time, but precisely because it doesn't. You never know when the next reward is coming. That unpredictability is what hooks you. A toxic partner uses your emotions as their personal slot machine. The cycle is brutally effective. First, there's a period of intense love and affection, the payout. They shower you with attention, praise, and future promises. They tell you you're their soulmate. You feel an incredible high. Then, just as you get comfortable, the payout stops. Suddenly, there's silence, coldness. Texts go unanswered. Affection is withdrawn. You have no idea what you did wrong. This is the devalue phase, and it sends you into a panic. You scramble, replaying every recent interaction, analyzing every word, desperately trying to figure out how to get the good feelings back. You apologize. You try harder. You walk on eggshells. You're pulling the lever on that slot machine again and again. And then, just when you're about to give up, just as you're exhausted, ding, 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 the payout comes again. The affection returns as suddenly as it left. Your brain is flooded with relief and dopamine. You're not addicted to the love itself. You are addicted to the relief from the anxiety. You're addicted to the hope of getting that high back. This cycle of idealize, devalue, idealize creates a powerful, trauma-based bond that can feel impossible to break. It's not a relationship. It's an addiction cycle designed to keep you in a constant state of uncertainty and need. So you're walking on eggshells, your confidence is in the gutter, and you're hooked on the emotional highs and lows. What happens when you finally find the strength to confront them about their behavior? This is where they employ their master defense, the master of guilt, also known as role reversal. You approach them with a valid complaint. You say, "It really hurt my feelings when you ignored me all night at the party." A healthy person would listen and respond. A manipulator engages in a three-step process psychologists call DARVO: deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. First, they deny the reality of what happened. "I did not ignore you. I was talking to everyone. You're just imagining things." Next, they attack your character for even bringing it up. "You know, you're always so needy. You can't handle it when I'm not paying attention to you for 5 minutes. It's embarrassing." And finally, the masterstroke. They reverse the roles of victim and offender. "Honestly, after the week I've had, I just wanted to relax, and now I have to deal with these accusations. You've completely ruined my night. I can't believe you're hurting me like this." Look what just happened. You entered the conversation as the injured party, and you've walked out of it as the villain, feeling guilty and likely apologizing to them. It is a form of psychological judo. They use the momentum of your own complaint to flip you on your back. It's so disorienting and so effective that, after a few times, you learn not to bring up your feelings at all. It's simply not worth it. And there it is. The maintenance program is complete. You are kept in a state of emotional subservience, too insecure to trust yourself, too addicted to leave, and too guilty to complain. So your confidence has been systematically dismantled. You're addicted to a chaotic cycle of emotional highs and lows, and you've been conditioned into silence through guilt. You are emotionally cornered. But the manipulator knows that feelings by themselves are not a permanent prison. For the trap to be absolute, they need to make escape seem not just emotionally difficult but logistically and psychologically impossible. This is the end game. This is the checkmate. This is where they ensure that even if you wanted to leave, you feel you literally cannot. This final phase is built on 2 pillars that form the bars of the cage. The first is the master tactic we'll call the architect of dependence. This moves beyond feelings and into the cold, hard structure of your life. The goal is to intertwine your existence with theirs so completely that you can't imagine a life apart from them. This dependence is usually forged in 2 key areas. First, and most obviously, is financial dependence. This is often engineered under the guise of love and support. It starts with them saying things like, "You hate your job so much. Why don't you quit? Focus on your passion, your art. I'll take care of us for a while." It sounds incredibly generous. It sounds like a dream, but it's the first step in cutting off your resources. Or they might discourage you from taking a promotion because it would add too much stress to your life. They take over the family finances because I'm just better with numbers, slowly moving all assets into accounts that only they control. Over time, you lose your financial autonomy. You go from being a partner to being an employee, dependent on their generosity for every dollar. The power imbalance becomes immense. Asking for money to leave isn't just difficult, it's a negotiation you know you'll lose. But the second type of dependence is even deeper: emotional and social dependence. By this point, after the systematic isolation in Phase 1, they have made themselves the center of your universe. They are your primary source of comfort, your main confidant, your sole source of excitement. Your entire emotional ecosystem revolves around them. It's like they've become your sun. They provide all the light and warmth in your life. But that also means they can create a total, freezing eclipse just by turning their back. The idea of living without that sun feels like stepping into a cold, infinite darkness. You feel you wouldn't survive it. Socially, after pushing your old friends away, they've seamlessly integrated you into their circle. Their friends are now your friends. Your social life is completely tied to the relationship. Leaving them doesn't just mean losing a partner. It means losing your entire community in one fell swoop. You are faced with the prospect of total and complete loneliness. It's a cage where the bars are made of comfort, fear, and a deep, gnawing belief that you are utterly incapable of surviving on your own. But how do they keep you motivated inside that cage? How do they stop you from just giving up and becoming listless? They need you to keep functioning, to keep contributing. This requires the second pillar, the psychological engine that powers the entire prison, the insatiable hunger, or the moving of the goalposts. The principle is simple. Nothing you do will ever be good enough. Ever. There will always be a new hoop to jump through, a new standard to meet. The finish line is a mirage that is designed to move every time you get close to it. This serves a critical purpose. It keeps you perpetually focused on trying to please them, leaving you no mental or emotional energy to think about your own unhappiness or to plan an escape. You see it in every aspect of your life. You spend a year working out and finally lose the 15 pounds they were always commenting on. You feel a flicker of pride. Their response? That's amazing. You look so much better. But now you really need to start toning up. Your arms are still a bit soft. The goalpost moves. You work tirelessly and get the promotion they said would finally make them feel secure in your future together. You come home with the good news and they say, well, it's a step up, I guess. But it's not the executive track, is it? I hope you'll have a path forward from there. The goalpost moves. You spend the entire day cleaning the house to perfection for their return. They walk in, scan the room, and their first words are, you missed a spot on the window. The goalpost moves. It's the classic carrot on a stick. But it's more sinister than that. It's not just about keeping you moving forward, it's about convincing you that the problem is your effort, your stride, not the fact that the carrot is fundamentally unattainable. It makes you internalize the failure. You live in a constant state of almost, always believing that if you just try a little harder, if you can just be a little better, you will finally earn the unconditional love and approval you crave. But you never will, because the system is designed to deny you that victory. Its purpose is to keep you running on their hamster wheel until you are too exhausted to even look for the door to the cage. Exhaustion is one of the most effective tools of control. And there it is. That is the checkmate. The board is set. Your reality has been rewritten. Your confidence is gone. You're emotionally addicted, structurally dependent, and psychologically exhausted from chasing a finish line that is designed to move forever. It feels like the game is over. But here is the secret. Here is the truth that every grandmaster knows, and that every manipulator prays you never discover. The only reason you are in checkmate is because you are still playing by their rules. On their board. The game only has power over you as long as you agree to play it. The moment you realize that you have the right to stand up, knock the pieces over, and walk away from the table, the game itself ceases to exist. Your move isn't on the board. It's to leave the board entirely. These aren't relationship flaws, they're deliberate control tactics. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince as a manual for good, but as an X-ray of power. Now you have that X-ray. You can see the moves before they happen. You can name what you're feeling. And that's the first and most important step toward reclaiming your power. But recognizing the game is only the beginning. How do you get up and leave the board without the prince or princess turning the tables and destroying everything around you? There's an exit strategy, an honorable retreat, that protects your safety and sanity. In the video that's showing on the screen, I reveal Machiavelli's 3 tactics for detaching from a toxic person and reclaiming your power. It's your escape manual. Click now and learn how to deliver your own checkmate.